Welcome to the Megacast, our live local daily TV, radio, and streaming show looking into all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. Today we'll be talking to a number of people about topics of interest and importance to Michiganders just like you. Let's begin with what's making headlines today on CivicCenterTV.com's local news page. Our top story comes from Dave Boucher at the Detroit Free Press. After their historic win on Tuesday, the Michigan Democratic Party has gone straight to work naming its new leadership in both chambers of the legislature. Senator Winnie Brinks from Grand Rapids will be the new Senate Majority Leader statewide, becoming the first woman in the history of the state to hold this esteemed position. In the House, Representative Joe Tate from Detroit was chosen as the new House Speaker. He also makes history, becoming the first Black man to lead this chamber of the state leadership when he takes hold of the gavel in 2023. Tate remarked in regards to these historic decisions, saying, quote, "It's historic. It's great. It's a great opportunity, but also a great responsibility. I'm going to bring my experiences. This house is for the entire state of Michigan. So making sure that we are doing things that are going to improve the quality of life for people," and closed quote. Recently reelected, also Democratic Governor Gretchen Whitmer congratulated the esteemed position leaders on their new role by saying, quote, "I am so excited to work with my friends, Majority Leader Brinks and Speaker Tate, to get things done on the fundamental issues affecting the state," and closed quote. So good news there for the Democratic Party as they take over both chambers of the House for the first time in decades, both chambers of the legislature, both the House and the Senate statewide for the first time in decades, which means two of the three major branches of the state government are led by Democrats, that being the House, the Senate, and the gubernatorial leadership all being majority Democrat, and of course the governor and the lieutenant governor both being Democrats respectively as well. Also making headlines today from Hannah McKay at the Detroit News. Not so positive news here in this case. Concerns are rising at U of M Mott Children's Hospital and hospitals across the state as Mott has reached 100% capacity due to a surge in RSV cases. Surges in caseload are also being experienced in other areas of the state at Corewell Health East, formerly known as Beaumont Health, with 571 pediatric cases last week, a rise of 72 cases from the week before, as well as Helen DeVos Children's Hospital in Grand Rapids, which is averaging over 200 cases of RSV per day. Quote, "We have never seen a surge in pediatric respiratory viruses like this before. Our hospital is 100% full," said Luann Thomas Ewald, the chief operating officer at Mott, and Von Voigtlander Women's Hospital in a news release. Continuing on, Ewald said, quote, "This is incredibly concerning because we haven't even seen the full impact of flu season yet," and closed quote. RSV is an infection that shows cold-like symptoms and is common to be exposed to by the age of 2. Usually, these symptoms of this respiratory virus are resolved within just a couple of weeks, but in children and in older adults, as well as those with underlying health conditions, it can be extremely dangerous. These recent surges are causing changes at hospitals affected by upticks across the state. At Corewell Health East this week, they began restricting children under 5 from visiting patients as a precaution in order to limit spread to those with higher potential for exposure. As we said, young children as well as older adults at the highest risk for exposure to RSV. That also includes those with underlying health conditions as well. Very similar to what we saw during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic and concerns as flu season hasn't even hit its peak yet. We also had an article earlier on this week regarding concerns across the healthcare system and across agencies statewide and around the country of a quote unquote triple demic being affecting our communities between COVID-19, the seasonal flu, and RSV. We'll keep you up to date on this as things progress with RSV here in the state of Michigan. But concerning news from U of M Mott Children's Hospital, as well as Corewell Health East and Helen DeVos Children's Hospital on the west side of the state. Finally, making headlines today at CivicCenterTV.com's the local news page from MLive's Deb Kiner. If you're getting ready for the winter season, potential for some power outages, maybe some windier weather, severe weather as we go from hot to cold once again, and you're getting ready to put that generator out and potentially use that if you lose your power, you might want to check the model first. as Generac is recalling some of its portable generators following incidents in which 24 people using these devices inadvertently amputated their fingers. They were previously recalled back in July of last year, those being the generators. This recall involves certain unit types listed in this article purchased from July 29th, 2021 until November 3rd of this year. There is a link in this article to a page that will help you determine whether or not your portable generator model is affected by this recall and may need to be brought in for service or replaced. Use that link in the article to check if your model is involved in this recall. And of course, to get more details as well on past recalls and some of the reasons why these generators are being recalled in this instance. All of those headlines are on our website, civiccentertv.com, on our local news page, along with links to COVID-19 information updated on the daily from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, as well as the Oakland County Health Division. We have a great show ahead on this Friday edition of the Megacast. Coming up next, we'll go swimming at the mall with Gabby Rosalie from Goldfish Swim School in West Bloomfield. You're watching and listening to the Megacast.
In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important. And now the same is true as we face the flu. Influenza has the potential to infect millions, putting lives and the healthcare system at risk. Fortunately, it's easy to protect yourself. The flu vaccine is safe and effective, and with COVID-19 still spreading, it's essential. To see how you can hit this virus head-on, visit michigan.gov/flu. Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
Welcome back to the Megacast, our live local daily TV, radio, and streaming show looking into all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. Learn more about our program on our website at civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll find more information on all of our partnering stations across the Great Lakes State, including My Michigan TV, and find our full shows and each individual interview on demand. civiccentertv.com/megacast is the website. Well, the warm seasons of the year are coming to a close, finally, even though it's mid-November, surprising as it is to say that. We're finally into the cooler months of the year coming up as we get the rest of the fall and certainly the winter season, but it's still a great time to go swimming. Go swimming at the mall. There's an opportunity to do that right here where we originate our broadcast in the West Bloomfield area in Oakland County at Goldfish Swim School, coming soon to the Orchard Mall. Joining us now on the program is their general manager at Goldfish Swim School in West Bloomfield. Gabby Rosalie joins us now on the Megacast. Gabby, thank you so much for joining us.
Of course, I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, glad to have you on with us. So this is the new location for Goldfish Swim School. It is a chain that has several locations in the Metro Detroit area. Most closely to the new West Bloomfield location would be a Birmingham location, Farmington Hills, and Clarkston. But opening a new location in West Bloomfield, it's under construction right now, and it's really interesting to see on your social media the way that that's being put in, because it's going in at the Orchard Mall on Orchard Lake Road, just before Maple in West Bloomfield. So tell us first about Goldfish Swim School and kind of the approach that it takes to teaching swimming to kids of a bunch of different ages.
Yeah, absolutely. So our program, we teach kids that start at as early as 4 months old, all the way up to 12 years old. We start as soon as we can, because the sooner we start, the less likely children are to develop a fear to the water. So all of our levels are catered toward our age groups. Jenny McQuiston, who was one of our founders, actually studied early childhood development. So our curriculum and our curriculum team, who's constantly improving the curriculum, is really focused on water safety and survival skills for our beginner levels. And then we begin to build the foundation for techniques to actually be mobile in the water and eventually progress into our front and our back strokes. And in our pro levels, we do teach the butterfly and the breaststroke strokes as well. So we use group lessons here at Goldfish that are about 30 minutes long, which is a perfect period of time for kids to be able to get some social interaction with their peers, learn from each other, and build their individualization as well as their swimming skills as well at our location.
So as I mentioned, there are several different locations for Goldfish Swim Schools here in the Oakland County area and across the state of Michigan. Why West Bloomfield for this new branch of the company? What about West Bloomfield Township and that location in the Orchard Mall makes it the perfect spot to open up another swim school?
We are so excited to come to West Bloomfield. We did, as you mentioned, we do have a location in Birmingham. That was actually our first Goldfish location, started in 2006. We now have over 135 locations across North America. And we wanted to come to West Bloomfield because, as you know, we do have some dispersed schools across Oakland County, but we don't really have a location to pull from those cities like West Bloomfield or like Commerce or White Lake or Waterford. It's a little bit of a drive to get to Birmingham or Clarkston for some of those families. So coming to West Bloomfield is something we're super excited about. The community atmosphere there is fantastic. And I think that, in that market, there are a lot of new parents that are looking for activities for their children that are local to the community that allow them to kind of get that social interaction that we've been so deprived of because of COVID. So we're really excited to bring the community together and come teach all those kids how to swim.
And this new West Bloomfield location, it's not open just yet, as we mentioned. It is under construction at this time. When do you expect to be open at your location in the Orchard Mall?
That's correct. So our location is set to open December 13th. That is the first day in our schedule. As of now, you can book in online through our website and actually reserve that spot for the middle of December. And then, of course, your spot will be reserved, and into January, you will have that spot if you're able to get one quick, as they're booking up really quickly for the month of December. So.
You can find more information on Goldfish Swim School and all their local locations, including their new location opening, as Gabby said, in December in West Bloomfield by going to goldfishswimschool.com. Goldfishswimschool.com to call their West Bloomfield location and reserve a spot in one of their early classes in mid-December. 248-297-6038. 248-297-6038 for more information. And it's interesting too, because you'll be opening in the colder months of the year, opening in December, right in the early part of the winter season, right around the time where winter really starts to take its course here in Michigan. And when we think about swimming in Michigan, we think about the warmer seasons of the year, certainly late spring, definitely over the summer, outdoors in the local pools, and certainly in our local lakes and the Great Lakes here in the state. But why is this time of the year, right now, and even through the colder months of the year, the perfect time for parents to bring their kids into a place like Goldfish Swim School and learn to swim?
Absolutely. So as you know, the winter months in Michigan, they get frigid out there. So our tropical atmosphere in all of our facilities is just a bright light in the middle of winter. The kids look forward to it. The members really enjoy being a part of our Goldfish family and coming into our facility. But aside from actually being in the location, swimming in the winter is a really great activity for kids to maintain their activity level. So staying active, and when you roll into January and February, what's coming up is spring break. So we got to get them ready. Your family might be going to Florida. So having those swim skills ready for spring break and then building on those in the colder months to be prepared for summer. Because as you said, where we live, there are lakes everywhere, and you want to be able to go to the beach with your family in the summertime. So using those months in the winter is essential to build a foundation to learn how to swim and enjoy yourself in the summer here in Michigan.
There are plenty of places all throughout the state of Michigan for people to learn to swim, and various different settings and different levels of expertise that kids may be learning to swim from or taking swim lessons from. What sets Goldfish Swim School apart in terms of its approach to teaching swimming and particularly its staff that's overseeing these classes?
This is one of our favorite questions to answer because I truly believe in the golden experience that we are so dedicated to providing to all of our members. Safety is one of our number one priorities. So I always communicate that to families that are interested in hearing about why Goldfish is so special. All of our staff on any location is ready to respond in case of an emergency. So we push that CPR certification so that if anything were to happen, anyone on the team is ready ready to respond in case of an emergency. We have lifeguards on every shift, which not all swim schools have. And we also have deck supervisors, which are also lifeguard certified, that monitor lesson quality and class control and the overall effectiveness of our swim lessons. So our safety is amazing. And then I like to touch on our curriculum too when I'm talking to families that are interested in learning more about goldfish. We have a curriculum team that has been developing and improving our curriculum since 2006. Like I said, Jenny, who's one of our co-founders, she studied childhood early development. And from there, we have built such a fantastic team that we've studied the skills and the levels and the age groups that we teach. And we have really, really simplified and made the process a really good time for the kids and effective for them to be able to learn.
You can reserve your kid's spot in some of their early classes with the new Goldfish Swim School location in West Bloomfield, opening in mid-December by going to their website, goldfishswimschool.com, goldfishswimschool.com, or calling their West Bloomfield location at 248-297-6038, 248-297-6038. And Gabby, you have such excitement for this new location for Goldfish and its approach to teaching swimming. You yourself are a swimmer. What got you involved with Goldfish and how long have you been with them?
Yeah, I actually grew up a swimmer myself. I was a competitive swimmer. I swam briefly in college at the University of California in San Diego before I ended my career due to some injuries, unfortunately, but I kept the swimming in my life. I have been a coach for about 7 years, actually. I've been teaching lessons for roughly 5 of those 7 years. So water safety is something that is really, really important to me. I thrive in the water. I love the water, and I want to make sure that kids never develop a fear that prohibits them from being able to enjoy the water as much as I do, or, my friends and my family do. And I think that, Goldfish is it's such a special business because we consider ourselves a family. All of our locations are so unique in that we are really bonded together with our staff and our members. So it really is a golden experience every time you come through those doors. And I myself believe that wholeheartedly.
Locations not only in West Bloomfield, also in Birmingham and Farmington Hills and Clarkston in our local area, Rochester as well. More information can be found on goldfishswimschool.com. Their West Bloomfield location opening in mid-December. You can also sign your kids up for some of their early classes with spots still available, and plenty of those at goldfishswimschool.com, or by calling their West Bloomfield location at 248-297-6038, 248-297-6038. This location will be opening at the Orchard Mall in December. The Orchard Mall, located in West Bloomfield Township on Orchard Lake Road, just north of Maple Road in West Bloomfield Township. We're joined by Gabby Rosalie, the general manager at Goldfish Swim School in West Bloomfield. Another couple minutes with you, Gabby, before we'll need to say goodbye, move on for today. Anything else that we haven't discussed yet that people should know about Goldfish Swim School, or other things you'd like to say about this new location opening up in December in West Bloomfield?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of my favorite core values that I love to touch on if I get the chance to is that we love to celebrate. We celebrate our kids constantly. And it's so important for kids that are, in our age range that we teach, 4 months to 12 years, to enjoy the teaching that they're getting, whether that's educational or physical, anything that our kids do. It might be nerve-wracking for them because it could be their first introduction to water or swim lessons. So anytime that we get a chance to celebrate our kiddos, we do that. We have ribbons that we give out at the end of classes. We have a little bell that our kids get to ring if they move up a level. We've got our monthly celebration prizes that we give out, different ones each week. So it truly is a full experience. And not only do we celebrate our kids, but we celebrate our staff members as well. We've got a lot of really cool things that we have going on in our Goldfish family. So even if you're not a member looking to come in and swim with us, we're hiring as well. So if you're looking to be a part of an awesome team, Goldfish West Bloomfield would love to have you as well.
Goldfishswimschool.com is their website for more information. You can go to goldfishswimschool.com/West-Bloomfield for the West Bloomfield location. Call 248-297-6038 and follow their West Bloomfield location on various social media: Instagram at @goldfish_West Bloomfield, Twitter at Goldfish Swim for their general business social media on Twitter, and then of course on Facebook, facebook.com/Goldfish West Bloomfield. You can even see some of their progress that they've been making on installing their pool as they poured cement in there just a couple of days ago. See how it's coming along at the Orchard Mall. Gabby, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate your time and telling us about this exciting new location coming up in West Bloomfield.
Yeah, thank you so much. And it was such a joy to be able to talk about Goldfish. We would love to have every single one of you come swim with us. So please do visit our website, get some more information if you need some, or give us a call. Myself or my assistant general manager, Lily, we would be so happy to talk with you over the phone and give you some more information about our program.
Lily was great to work with to help book Gabby, and Gabby, thank you so much also for joining us and telling us about this exciting new swim school coming to Oakland County in the West Bloomfield area, as they have several locations, as we said, all throughout southeastern Michigan. More information, again, can be found to search Goldfish Swim School of West Bloomfield to book some of their classes that will be upcoming as they open sometime early on in December. We'll take a break on the Megacast. On the other side, it's our weekly look into the markets and into the economy with Oakland University's Michael Greiner. We'll talk about cryptocurrencies, the way that COVID-19 has continued to have an impact on the workforce, and also what the hell is going on with Twitter since the takeover by Elon Musk. That's coming up next. You're watching and listening to the Megacast.
Let's whoop it up for these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the cheering going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer. Because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be like happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine. I'm feeling good.
Let's savor these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
Welcome back to the Megacast, our live daily local TV, radio, and streaming show looking into all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. Learn more about our program on our website, civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll find more information on all of our partnering stations across the Great Lakes State, including My Michigan TV, our co-flagship, streaming online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and find all of our full shows and each individual interview on demand as well, so you can watch us at your leisure. civiccentertv.com/megacast. As we do each and every week, we'll take a look into the market and into the economy as we continue to see fluctuations, changes, and frankly, some very bizarre stories as well of late. Joining us now to talk about all of those across the board is Michael Greiner, Assistant Professor of Management at Oakland University's School of Business Administration. Michael, thanks for being with us again.
Great to be back, Tyler. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you as well. Let's start off with a topic we've touched on quite a few times in the past several weeks. What the hell is going on at Twitter? Elon Musk takes over, and it's been a wild week. Hey, pay $8 for subscriptions, $8 in order to get a blue check mark and be verified. And so what we're seeing is the memers online have taken over in many cases, and Elon Musk also threatened pretty early on that, hey, if you are impersonating anybody and don't mark it as a parody, you're going to get banned from Twitter. You're going to get your account removed. So a bunch of parody accounts coming out that are also getting those check marks, as well as a number of different issues, and especially on the staffing side of things. It's just chaos there, it seems, at Twitter.
Yeah, it's total chaos. In fact, the funny thing to me is that at the same time as he's banning these parody accounts, he's also saying that comedy is now legal again on Twitter. So who knows what's really going on there? I'll tell you from a content standpoint, there was an interesting study that came out from the Fletcher School at Tufts University that found that in just the 2 weeks that Elon Musk has had control of Twitter, already a lot of the dialogue on it has kind of devolved into a lot more conspiracy theories and fear mongering, kind of the types of things that Twitter had tried to kind of stay away from. But what it appears to be happening is a lot of the people who engage in that type of dialogue have been kind of testing the boundaries to see if they can get away with it. And it appears thus far that they are getting away with it. But the bigger issue that Elon Musk should be concerned about is the financial side of things. And indeed, he is concerned about it. He laid off already about half the workforce, and he sent out a tweet and held a little conference with employees and with advertisers in which he said that Twitter is facing financial catastrophe. The big problem that it's got, aside from the fact that Twitter really has never made very much money, is the fact that in addition to the expenses Twitter already had, when Elon Musk bought Twitter, he essentially loaded it up with about $13 billion in debt. That's what's called a leveraged buyout, which means that essentially when you buy a company, you make the company take on the debt itself to pay for the buyout. So it's kind of a financial maneuver there. And Elon Musk, despite his status as being the world's richest man, claims that was necessary for him to be able to finance this purchase. Now, the sad truth of it is that this debt is going to add $1 billion a year to the expenses of Twitter, making it even less financially viable. And Elon Musk essentially secured this debt with stock that he has in Tesla. And this is just after he had reassured Tesla investors that he wasn't going to sell Tesla stock, which would, of course, make the value of the stock go down to try to protect his Twitter venture. Then he went around and sold $4 billion worth of Tesla stock, which he said on Twitter he'd done to be able to save Twitter. So who knows what's going on here? It's total chaos. And there's all kinds of talk about people moving over to some other site like Mastodon or who knows what else. But the reality is that Twitter does have one thing going for it. And what that is what's called network externalities. And it's the same reason that, for example, Google Plus never took off. Some of you may remember Google Plus being advertised as an alternative to Facebook, and it never really went anywhere. And that's because even though Google Plus had a lot of advantages over Facebook in terms of its interface, it, your friends weren't on it. Your friends were on Facebook, and you wanted to be where your friends were. And that kind of relationship, that kind of tight network is what creates these externalities where people are bound to a site. And you see with eBay, and you see with Facebook, and you see it, frankly, with Twitter, which is that if you want to know what's going on Twitter, you got to be on Twitter to be able to see it. So will Twitter be able to survive? Well, I mean, there's still going to be a lot of people there. But the key is going to be if Elon Musk can convince advertisers to come back to it. Already, a number of advertisers have decided that they're going to pull their advertising to kind of see what happens. I think most people agree that some of Elon Musk's ideas for alternative sources of revenue, things like the check mark, as you pointed out, aren't really going to solve his problems. And there's talk about trying to make it into the ability to make payments through there, like kind of PayPal is, or the ability of video there, like you can on YouTube. Who knows what's going to happen with it? But Elon Musk clearly is scrambling right now to figure out a way that he's able to generate more revenue so that he's able to cover the cost that he's got. And the question is if he's going to be able to do that. I don't know what's going to happen. I got to tell you, I hate to bet against Elon Musk because he's certainly had some amazing successes, but he's also had some pretty spectacular failures. And I would not be surprised if we saw Twitter going down the tubes in the next 6 months or so.
Yeah, definitely a chaotic start there for Elon Musk leading Twitter after purchasing the organization and seeing a lot of people very frustrated with where it seems to be going, including those working in-house and those that had just previously been working for Twitter and were let go early on, speaking to the conditions working at Twitter as well. We're joined by Michael Greiner from Oakland University on today's edition of the Megacast. Another major company across the United States that's also worldwide, Starbucks, having a lot of issues lately as its employees have begun doing something quite unprecedented for that business, something that Starbucks has, much like Amazon over the last several years and certainly over the last decade plus, been trying to stamp out, and that is unionizing. But an interesting decision came through in New York from a judge that required Starbucks stores in Western New York and an organization behind that unionization drive there to provide its messages to journalists, between journalists and those unionizing, to the courts during these proceedings. Quite an unprecedented move being made there by U.S. District Court Judge John L. Sinatra Jr. to require this.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, I remember when I was in graduate school, one of my professors who had actually had a bit of a history as a union organizer talking about the fact that under the law, we've basically made unions illegal here in the United States. And the irony is it hasn't really been done, frankly, by Congress, which Congress, the last time it passed any kind of union related legislation was back in 1947. So it's been a long time since Congress has done anything. But since then, you've seen the states kind of picking away at organizing rights for unions. And really, the courts have interpreted the law in such a way that it's made it harder and harder for unions to organize, to the point where right now, I believe only about 5% of private sector employees are unionized in the United States, which is really an all-time low since unions were first legalized in the United States in the 1930s. So this has really been par for the course that we've seen with the courts. But in this case, I believe everybody was really shocked by this because New York has what's called a reporter shield law, which basically means that reporters aren't required to disclose their sources when they report on stories. Now, in this case, it's a little bit different because what what Starbucks is asking the court is not that they be allowed to get the information from the reporters as to who the sources are, but they're being requested to get from the sources who they've been talking to in terms of the reporters. So it although it's a little bit different from a legal standpoint, it has the same general effect, which is really a chilling effect on the ability of sources to be able to talk to reporters. Now, to be fair, generally speaking, that's not a legally acknowledged privilege here in the United States. But by the same token, it's just one more nail in the coffin of unions' ability to organize across the United States. And when you think about it, it's become so hard because the employers have all the ability to be able to spend work time essentially telling employees as to why they should vote against the union, and yet courts have repeatedly ruled that unions don't have access to the employees on any kind of property that belongs to the employer, including in farms, for example, where migrant farm workers are located. That was a relatively recent decision by the Supreme Court. So, but this one takes an extra step. The judge was appointed by Donald Trump, and the opinion has been appealed to the Second Circuit. So we'll see what happens with that. But I can tell you it's an opinion that really caught a lot of labor attorneys off guard, and for that matter, a lot of free speech advocates off guard, because it seems to really go against the core of what we're trying to protect with organizing, which is the ability of people to communicate with each other about their views. And we'll see where that goes. But as of right now, it's just kind of ironic to me that you have Starbucks, which in some ways has tried to paint itself as this progressive firm, has really become one of the great union busters in America. And they've taken a very strong stand against unions, and we'll see how that affects them. There have been some successes in overcoming that in some stores, especially in the Buffalo area, ironically. But it has spread across the company, and we'll see the extent to which it extends everywhere. But Starbucks has been very aggressive in fighting that, as is Amazon, and we'll see if they're successful in stopping these organizing efforts.
Yeah, this particular decision was part of the coffee chain asking for a subpoena for these records, for these communications, between those unionizing and journalists that they had spoken to on this story as part of discovery in this legal battle over the unionization with employees and the National Labor Relations Board, who issued that complaint against Starbucks and more than 200 violations of the National Labor Relations Act as well. We're joined by Michael Greiner on today's edition of the Megacast. You can find more information on programs at Oakland University, including in their School of Business Administration at oakland.edu, oakland.edu. Lastly, today, Michael, cryptocurrencies are looking at a really tough time as well. We're seeing what some are referring to as an implosion of some of these cryptocurrencies and these crypto businesses as well. What's going on in that regard? And should people that have heavily invested or even just minutely invested in cryptocurrencies be concerned about those investments?
Yeah, I think they should be. And I got to tell you, you've got to count me among one of the early and consistent skeptics of cryptocurrencies for a number of reasons. I don't need to get into them. Just, I think you can imagine, when you're comparing a cryptocurrency versus something that's backed by the full faith and credit of the United States, it's a little bit of a different thing. And that's essentially what we're seeing right now. Basically, in crypto right now, there are two ways that you're able to purchase crypto and to exchange it with others. And they are through these exchanges, one which is called Binance and one which is called FTX. Binance actually largely does not operate in the United States. It's operated by a Chinese company. And as a result, they engage in certain practices that aren't allowed here in the United States. And they don't have a very large footprint here in the United States. FTX, on the other hand, has a huge presence here in the United States. In fact, some sports fans may be familiar with it, having seen their ads either on the Super Bowl or knowing that the Miami Heat actually play in a stadium named after FTX, the exchange. And FTX was started by an American crypto billionaire. And he started a company called Alameda Research, which essentially made money by trading in crypto. And then he kind of shifted over into engaging in this whole process of trading, where people would go in and be able to buy crypto through his exchange. Now, the concern I've always had with crypto is that it's kind of based on people's word. People complain about the dollars, the American dollars, being based upon kind of this concept. It's not backed by gold anymore as it once was. It's based upon this concept that the United States will back it with its full faith and credit. Well, that is something that does matter, and the United States dollar, as a result, has been very strong, even though it isn't backed by gold. On the other hand, you've got crypto, which isn't even backed by that. It's basically backed by nothing other than the interest in other people of engaging in investing in crypto. Now, that to me speaks an awful lot like a pyramid scheme. And that's, I think, what's basically happened here, which is that you have FTX, which allowed people essentially to borrow money to invest in crypto, which has experienced a classic case of a run on the bank. And we've talked about this before in other circumstances, like when we talked about what happened back in the Great Recession of 2008 and 2009. But what a run on the bank is basically the FTX doesn't have enough cash on hand to pay out all the obligations it has. It kind of relies upon the fact that a certain percentage of people are just going to want to leave their money in their accounts and allow their money to accumulate value, accumulate interest. And by doing that, the company is able to have less cash on hand than it would need to pay out everybody if they all want to take their money out at the same time. Well, the problem happens if everybody decides to take their money out at the same time. Now, if you have your money in a traditional bank or credit union here in the United States, there are things like the FDIC, for example, that insure your money and make sure that if there is a run on the bank, you're going to get all your money back. At least up to a certain amount of money, like $250,000 with respect to the banks. No such insurance exists, though, for things like these crypto exchanges. So as a result of that, when suddenly concerns started to arise over the too close involvement between this Alameda Research, the one company, and the other company owned by the same individual, FTX. Suddenly, people got nervous. They started withdrawing their money. That led to more people withdrawing their money, and you have a classic run on the bank where the bank, in this case FTX, doesn't have enough money to cover all of its obligations. FTX actually had gone to Binance, its major competitor, and tried to get them to buy them out to try to cover these obligations. Binance at first said yes, then backed out. And as a result, right now, we're facing a situation where one of the two largest crypto exchanges are facing bankruptcy. And many of the large investors in this exchange have said that their investment is basically worthless now. Now, the irony of all this is that this is an exchange that had kind of held itself out as being the responsible exchange, the one that could be counted on, and the one that that showed that crypto is actually a viable alternative for people to invest in. This is a company that had actually gone and tried to rescue some other smaller exchanges when they found themselves in trouble. And finally, they had become very active in lobbying Congress and the White House in trying to essentially make some of the regulations that affect crypto more crypto friendly. Now, that has led to some controversy within the crypto community, but overall, this individual was viewed as somebody who was really a responsible player in what up until now had been kind of a wild west. And I saw one commentator say that this is kind of like discovering that Hermione Granger is actually Voldemort for the Harry Potter fans out there. And I can kind of see how it feels that way. I mean, this is an individual that people thought, oh, this is the blue chip company. This is the responsible company. This is the company that you can count on to keep crypto above water. And now all of a sudden, they're in big trouble. Well, I mean, I think it just shows that crypto, unfortunately, is a big gamble no matter how you cut it. And I think if people are invested in crypto, they should be nervous about this. As I've said, frankly, for years, and I really hope that people are thinking twice before they invest in what's really a very, very risky investment.
Well, Michael, appreciate your time and your insight on all these different issues, complicated each in their own right. And thank you for joining us once again this week.
Happy to be here. See you next week, Tyler.
You as well. Michael Greiner from Oakland University. More information on Oakland courses and their School of Business Administration can be found at oakland.edu. We'll take a break. On the other side, we'll talk to one of over 300 charities and nonprofits supported on the Shared Detroit platform. You're watching and listening to the Megacast.
Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important. And now the same is true as we face the flu. Influenza has the potential to infect millions, putting lives and the healthcare system at risk. Fortunately, it's easy to protect yourself. The flu vaccine is safe and effective, and with COVID-19 still spreading, it's essential. To see how you can hit this virus head on, visit michigan.gov/flu.
Welcome back to the Megacast, our live local daily TV, radio, and streaming show looking into all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. Learn more on the program on the website, civiccentertv.com/Megacast. Find more info on all of our partnering stations and find us on demand as well. civiccentertv.com/Megacast. Joining us now is Sherry Collins, the Chief Diversity and Engagement Officer of Make-A-Wish of Michigan. Sherry, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate having you on. First off, just tell us a little bit about the mission of Make-A-Wish Michigan. Certainly, we've heard so much about the organization on a national level. How is that different, and how is it similar to the national campaign right here in Michigan?
Absolutely. So Make-A-Wish Michigan, we are granting wishes to children right here in Michigan. We've actually granted more than 11,000 wishes to Michigan children battling critical illnesses. And we've been here since 1984. So many people don't realize that we're right here in Michigan granting wishes to children and you're right in the community.
And so, what is your relationship then with a national organization? Obviously, Make a Wish of Michigan, as you said, is granting those wishes to kids here in the state of Michigan. But is there a strong connection there between the state chapter and the national chapter?
Absolutely. So there are 58 chapters of Make a Wish throughout the country. And we are, Make a Wish Michigan, we're our own 501c3. We have our own governing board, but we do work closely with our national office and they develop kind of the national standards and guidelines that all of our chapters follow. They develop things like our brand guidelines and that type of support, as well as when we have wishes that might involve celebrities or larger engagement, from a broader community. They could be involved in helping grant those and coordinating those across the country. So we do work very closely with our national office.
So, Sherry, how do people get involved in terms of making their kids eligible for a wish here in Michigan, or signing up someone a kid that they may know that may be eligible for a wish and maybe in need in that sort of a pick me up to potentially have their wish granted by Make a Wish of Michigan?
Yes, many people aren't aware of our eligibility guidelines. So, to be eligible for a wish, it's for children who are between the ages of 2.5 to 18 at time of referral. They have been diagnosed with a critical illness and they have not received a wish from another wish grantee organization. And so, to refer a child, it can either be the child's doctor, their medical providers. So it could be a doctor, a social worker, a nurse, child care specialist who could refer a child to Make a Wish. A family member can also refer a child. A parent or guardian can refer their child if they believe their child may be eligible. In some cases, we have some teenagers who actually decide to go on our website and see if they're eligible. So a child themselves can refer, by going to our website. So there are several different options to learn more about if you're eligible for a wish and to make that referral.
We're joined by Sherry Collins, the Chief Diversity and Engagement Officer at Make a Wish of Michigan. Learn more information about the organization and their over 11,000 wishes granted to Michigan children at wish.org/Michigan. Wish.org/Michigan for more information, as well as other ways you can get involved and donate to help support granting these wishes to kids all across the state of Michigan. And we hear so much about the wishes being granted and all these great and elaborate wishes that end up being fulfilled for kids from Make a Wish at the national level and here statewide. But what are some things, Jerry, that you wish people knew about Make a Wish, especially the Michigan chapter, that they maybe don't know?
Well, one of the things that we like to share and let people know that wishes are so life changing for our children. It really is more than the trip or the celebrity they might have a chance to meet or the item they wish for. It's that life changing impact. We actually recently released data from a Wish Impact survey that really talks about some of that, important. The transformation that a wish provides. So, for example, 98% of Wish alum said that the Wish improved their emotional well being, and 95% of Wish alum said it made them more hopeful about the future. As well as medical providers who are seeing the changes in their patients. We have 100% of medical providers who said the wishing experience improves the child's emotional well-being, and 98% said it improves the child's physical well-being as well. So, just letting people know that wishes aren't just for that moment in time. It really is transformational for our wish families, and it creates memories of a lifetime.
More information can be found on wish.org/Michigan. Wish.org/Michigan for more information and other ways to get involved. And Sherry, for those that would like to get involved and would like to help grant some of these wishes, obviously donations to your 501c3 nonprofit organization are critical in fulfilling that mission and fulfilling these wishes. But what are some other ways people can get involved if they would like to help out Make a Wish of Michigan?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, donations are critical. We don't wishes are only possible through community support. So, we aren't relying on state or federal funding to grant wishes. It's all that, the community support that makes wishes possible. But other ways that people can get involved, we have more than 650 active volunteers who directly support our mission. They are kind of the first face of Make-A-Wish, and they get to interact and meet the wish children and families and ask that incredible question, like, if you could wish for anything in the world, what would you wish for? So, there's lots of opportunities to become a volunteer, to become a wish granting volunteer, where you're working directly with families. There's volunteers for our events as well. So, that's a critical piece. We are always looking for new corporate friends who want to support our mission. So it could be through sponsorship of one of our events. It could be through just fundraising at your place of employment and getting your employees involved with Make-A-Wish, and referring. We're always working with our medical professionals and making sure they are aware of Make-A-Wish and referring their patients. So making that referral, or if you are a parent who thinks your child may be eligible, making that referral. One other way I will mention is we have hundreds of third-party events that are held every year in support of Make-A-Wish. So if you wanted to set up some type of fundraiser, you can certainly reach out to us if you wanted to raise money. We have golf outings and many other types of fundraisers that people are involved in, and that's a really, really great way to help Make-A-Wish. Even at the K through 12 level, we have schools that are involved in supporting us through their fundraisers to support Make-A-Wish. So many ways to get involved and help make these wishes come true for children in our community.
Make-A-Wish of Michigan can be found at wish.org/Michigan. You can call their local offices in the eastern side of Michigan, their local office in Brighton, 734-994-8620, 734-994-8620, or their toll-free number, 800-622-9474, toll-free at 800-622-9474. For those on the west side of the state, their Grand Rapids office, 616-363-4607, 616-363-4607, and toll free at 877-631-9474. Toll free 877-631-9474. Sherry, a couple more minutes with you before we'll say goodbye today. Sherry Collins joining us on the Megacast, Chief Diversity and Engagement Officer with Make-A-Wish of Michigan. I want to give you a couple minutes to talk about some of your favorite, more recent wishes granted, and tell us some of these great uplifting stories that have happened right here in Michigan.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, one of the wishes that's always very popular for our children here in Michigan is our wishes to go to Walt Disney World Resort, and we are great partners with Disney, and they grant incredible wishes for our wish kids. Another wish that recently happened, actually happened last month, was a wish child who wanted to be a supermodel, and so we were able to make her wish come true and highlight her runway debut at the Detroit Fillmore at our Wish Ball event last month. And, that was just an incredible wish. And we have children who are going to Hawaii and who are receiving, campers or, shopping adventures, room redos. So just many, many wishes that are happening right now, and many more children who are waiting for their wishes to happen. And again, as I mentioned, these wishes are only possible through community support.
More information, wish.org/Michigan. Sherry, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
You can also learn more about Make-A-Wish of Michigan by visiting sharedetroit.org. Sharedetroit.org. We can find info on Make-A-Wish of Michigan and over 300 other charities and nonprofits in a variety of different areas and subject matters all across the Great Lakes state. That is going to do it for this week's editions of the Megacast. As always, you can catch us on demand, civiccentertv.com/Megacast, and find out more information about all the different places we air on TV, on the radio, and online all across the Great Lakes state. civiccentertv.com/Megacast. Big thank you to all of our guests this week, as well as our dedicated crew at the studio of My Michigan TV, Jared Clark and Calvin Brown, for making this program possible 5 days a week. That does it for today's show. We'll return soon with a new episode.